Today I want to talk about some vintage names that were popular around 100 years ago that haven't yet made their comeback. So I'm not talking about names like Violet that peaked 100 or so years ago and have now come back into the top 1000 and are quite popular. I'm talking about names that are still quite rare and are not in the US top 1000 as of 2015 and haven't been for quite some time. So first I have Florence. Florence is a Latin name meaning flourishing or prosperous. Florence was in the top 10 from 1886 to 1906, but hasn't been in the top 1000 since 1981. So it is quite unusual. Only 214 baby girls were given the name Florence in 2015. Florence is actually quite popular in the UK, but it still hasn't made its comeback in the US. I think it's a beautiful name, especially with the nickname Flora, and it could make a really classy name for a baby girl, and it's a beautiful vintage name that is still quite rare. The second name I have to share with you is Effie. Effie is a Greek name meaning pleasant speech. It is short for Euphemia, and it fell off the top 1000 in 1959, and its popularity peaked in the 1880s. In 2015, only 53 baby girls were given the name Effie. You may recognize this name from the Hunger Games. It's quite a cute name. I like it a lot as a nickname. I've also heard it used as a nickname for Elizabeth. I think it's a really sweet name, and it's a really pretty vintage name that is still quite rare. The next name I have to share with you is Ethel. Ethel is an English name meaning noble maiden. It hasn't been in the top 1000 since 1975. It peaked at number 6 in 1896, and only 12 baby girls were given the name Ethel in 2015. So I think it's definitely time that Ethel makes a comeback. Most people that I share the name Ethel with think that it sounds very old lady-ish, so I think this one might be still a little bit dated, but I do foresee it still making a comeback sometime in the future since those names are becoming so popular now. The next name I have for you is a favorite of most people, and that is Belle. Belle is a French name meaning beautiful. It hasn't been in the top 1000 since 1934, which really surprised me because I thought that the Disney movie Beauty and the Beast would definitely have brought it back in popularity, but people definitely seem to be favoring the more feminine Bella. It peaked at number 90 in 1880, and only 248 baby girls were given the name Belle in 2015. I can definitely see it jumping into the top 1000 in the next couple years because it is a beautiful vintage name. The next name I have for you is Ida. Ida is a German name meaning industrious one. It was last in the top 1000 in 1986, and it peaked at number 7 in 1880. Only 159 baby girls were given the name Ida in 2015. So this is definitely a very sweet and simple baby girl name. It reminds me of other kind of short names that are coming back into style. The next name I have to share with you is Maude. Maude is a variation of the name Matilda, meaning battle mighty. It hasn't been in the top 1000 since 1950, although Matilda is certainly back in style. 16 baby girls were named Maude in 2015, but Matilda is actually well into the top 1000. I just think it's a really sweet name, and I definitely think it has the potential to come back into style, but it's still quite rare. The next vintage name I have to share with you is Della. Della peaked in 1881 at number 60, and only 213 baby girls were born with the name Della in 2015. Della is a diminutive of Adela, which means noble. I think Della is the sweetest name ever. I've mentioned it as a nickname before for names like Delphine. I think it is such a beautiful name. The next name I have for you is Viola. Viola is a Latin name meaning violet. It was a top 50 name from 1899 to 1911, but it fell off the charts in 1972, And in 2015, only 188 baby girls were named Viola. I think Viola could be a really cute and sweet alternative to Violet, which is now a top 100 name. And I think that it's just a really strong name for a baby girl. And it definitely has that vintage feel to it. I just love it so much. The next name I have for you is Opal. Opal peaked in 1911 at number 81 and fell out of the top 1,000 in 1960. Only 229 baby girls were named Opal in 2015. So this is another one of those names that you can definitely tell is starting to rise again in popularity. So it's probably going to be one of those vintage names that we see coming back in the next couple of years. I really love the name Opal as an alternative to the name Pearl, which is becoming quite popular. I just think it's a really cute name. I don't really like the nickname Opie though, which is probably what people would use for it. But I do really think that it's a sweet and beautiful name. The next name I have to share with you is Lavinia. Lavinia ranked at number 527 in 1900. But it fell out of the top 1,000 in 1929 and has not yet reappeared. Only 63 baby girls were named Lavinia in 2015. This is one of those names that I discovered through Downton Abbey, and I think it is such a beautiful name. I've mentioned it in one of my other videos as an alternative to Olivia. I think it is such an elegant and beautiful baby girl name. It's a little bit almost more approachable than Lavender, and I just think it's really, really beautiful, and it's a Latin name meaning from Lavinia. The next name I have to share with you is Harriet. Harriet is an English variation of the French name Henriette, which means estate ruler. It was most popular in 1917 when it sat at number 104 in the top 1,000. But only 179 baby girls were named Harriet in 2015. So it has definitely fallen from grace. But it is becoming quite popular in the UK. I believe it's a top 100 name. I really love the nickname Hattie for this name, and I just love it so much. And I think it's one of those vintage names that just really deserves to come back, but it's almost kind of cool that it hasn't come back yet. And the last name I have to share with you is probably the most out there on this list, and the one that I think might have the hardest time making a comeback, and that is Sybil. Sybil peaked in popularity in 1919 at number 282 and fell out of the top 1,000 in 1966. I love the nickname Sib or Sibby for this name, but only 90 baby girls were named Sybil in 2015, so not a lot of parents are choosing the name Sybil anymore. I love this name probably because of the association with the Downton Abbey character, but other people are watching that show too, and they will probably also have that positive association because she's just such a great character. So I can definitely see it maybe making a comeback because of that show, but I feel like the sound is just a little bit maybe too harsh and just not something that's very familiar for modern day namers. That's all I have for you today. Please let me know what your favorite rare vintage baby girl names are down below. I may do another video on vintage boy names, but it's a little bit harder because boy names tend to remain classic and don't really go out of style the way girl names do. It's really cool to be able to go through all of this naming data and see what names were popular years and years ago and look at naming patterns and all that other cool stuff. I really enjoyed making this video. Thanks for watching it. Like, subscribe, comment. Thanks for watching. Bye.